Hello everyone, my name is Megan Ballingy and I'm one of the librarians at Harlan Community College Library, and I'm going to be going over some resources for your Humanities 101 class. I have some information about your assignment, and I'm going to be using two examples. The two examples I'm going to use hopefully will illustrate how you can find various resources on different types of topics. So I'm going to be using one topic is the evolution of jazz, and the other one is going to focus on the films Star Wars. And there's a lot to go with on either one of those, so I'm going to be talking about how to narrow down your focus a little bit as well as we go along. Okay, to get started, since I've already started talking about the topic, on this LibGuide, and all of the websites and the information, the links are going to be down below in this video, hyperlinked, and also there'll be timestamps as well. So you can get back to all of these resources throughout the semester of your class. Okay, so topic. If you're just getting started with your topic and you need to take it from a big general topic down to something a little more narrow, you can use this little chart. It's really helpful. It's a really good idea to make sure you explore your topic and know what you're going to be focusing on before you start getting into searching for resources. It's just going to make it a lot easier later on. So for example, as one of the topics, the evolution of jazz, you could go a lot of ways with that. So your broad topic using this, describe your topic in a few words. Well, if we're talking about the evolution of jazz, where jazz started, what were the influences at that time, all the way to what are popular jazz artists doing now, and what are all the subgenres. Usually in a paper that you're going to write, you can't cover all of that, so it's a really good idea to narrow this down a little more. So in what time period does your topic take place? Maybe you just want to focus on really recent differences in jazz, like what are all the sub genres of jazz now? The place, in what country or geographic region is this taking place? Well, if we're talking about jazz in the US, and what regions, maybe you're just talking about the evolution of jazz in New Orleans or New York, in other places throughout the US. Key players, what groups, entities, or specific individuals are involved? On the topic of jazz, if you're focusing on more recent artists, who are those people? And are you going to be giving more information in your paper about those individuals or people that influence jazz or jazz artists that influence other jazz artists? Causes or effects. What factors influence this topic? What is the effect? What kind of evolution has jazz taken, and what kind of other musical genres or art forms has jazz influenced or been influenced by? So those are just some examples. You can take your topic and take it through this list, and I think it will help you a lot. Finding books. This is using iShare, which this tab has some information for requesting books. So this is a really up-to-date information about the library right now. The library is closed right now until next week, but if you put in a request for a book, we have a book pickup service that we can grab books for you and put them outside of the library doors so you can still pick them up. This page will show you how to do all of that, and it's step by step, but I'm going to show you how to use the system and we'll go from there. So the first thing to do is to open iShare, And when we're using iShare, this is the library catalog, but it's also all of the materials that around Illinois, other libraries will also share with us. In this general search box, I can put a search term, so jazz, and I can search all iShare libraries. What this will do is if Heartland doesn't have a book or an ebook or another resource on jazz, we can find it throughout the system. I'm going to adjust this a little bit. It's also helpful to go ahead and sign in. And mine, throughout this video, everything is going to automatically log into the system. When you are using these pages, it will prompt you to log in with your Heartland username and password, so just be aware of that. Right now I'm searching all of the iShare libraries, and on the left-hand side I can make some choices here that will help filter through these results. So right now I have about 37,000 results. If I wanted to look for just materials that were available online so that I could get to them and use them right now, I can choose available online, and I could also click this open access. These are materials that are just open, they're not behind any sort of subscription walls or anything like that. So we can find books, articles, etc. that are also open access. So those two, make sure you have checked. And I'm going to just leave the creation date like it is. And I'm going to look for books. There are also other options, and depending on what your topic is, other options will pop up here as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and search with those search terms. And now I can see some materials that are coming through here. And here is a book, Reshaping Jazz in the 21st Century. And this says open access. And it has a link here available online. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And sometimes when you go to this next screen, you have to scroll down a little bit and look where it says full text available. So here are the options. And I can click on the first one and let's take a look. All right, here is the ebook, and here is the DOI, which is the web address for this book. You can also utilize the citation information. So if you are going to use this book, click Cite This Item. And here is the MLA citation style for this book. So you could copy that and put it into your references. And to scroll is how you get to each of the chapters. So let's say I wanted to look at chapter 3. I can read this online, or I could download the PDF from here. Now, on that other topic that I mentioned as a sample topic, Star Wars. This topic, or this keyword that I'm going to use, this phrase, it could mean multiple things. Most likely, we're going to run across Star Wars, the films, from popular culture, but you may want to put Star Wars in quotations. What that is going to tell the database is to keep these two words together. So I find Star Wars together in a search result. And that will also work for names too. So if you're focusing on an artist like Pablo Picasso or Frida Kahlo, you can put their names in quotations. And it will make it easier for you to find that information. Okay, so the same thing goes for these materials. Looks like it came up with Star Wars. You can search open access, held by the library, etc. Finding articles on your topic. I'm going to suggest the databases. Oops, sorry, I will fix this formatting. These two databases, JSTOR and Academic Search Complete. And the database links are on the side, and this is how you will get to those databases. Let's go to JSTOR first, since we already kind of looked at it. To search the databases, we're going to go to Database Links. And it will take us to another page, and I'm going to mention this later on. We have a website that has the most up-to-date information for spring 2021. And this is the page that we're going to focus on. So throughout the spring, please keep coming back to this page for the most up-to-date information. On the JSTOR page, I am going to start with just searching Star Wars. And I'll put it in quotations and we'll see what happens. Star Wars in quotations brought back about 9,700 results. And this is pretty cool because you could look at images as well. But we can refine those results. And this is where you're going to ask yourself some questions. What materials do you want to use? Do you want to look for book chapters, research reports? Are you looking for academic journals? And do you have a time period that you want to focus on? For example, with Star Wars, are you thinking about writing more about the original 3 from the early 80s? Or are you comparing some of those films to even the Clone Wars or some of the offshoots like The Mandalorian? Narrowing by the publication date may help you with that. But think about what you're most focused on. And when I just search Star Wars, I'm going to get everything. So let's take a look and let's just see what kind of research reports are available for Star Wars. Oh, this is good. So we did put this in quotations, but keep in mind that Star Wars, it is a popular film series and universe, but it's also a term or terminology that is used with nuclear energy and obviously with the stars and different, there are different terminologies as to defense programs that this was referring to. So it looks like, just scrolling through some of these, that these research reports are mostly focused on news stories as far as like aerospace. But as I was scrolling, here's one that's talking about the Death Star. So to find some of those, if you are using, I guess, this research reports filter, may be a little more difficult. We can also take a look at journals. Let's just see what we find here. Okay, and it looks like we are just finding some articles. Probably my suggestion, same thing with the evolution of jazz, with the focus on Star Wars, you'll probably want to narrow that down a little bit. There are a lot of well-known focuses on philosophy in Star Wars, religion in Star Wars. You could even focus on feminism in Star Wars, and that's where you could go into the advanced search and get a little more specific with your search terms. Star Wars and, let's just try Star Wars and feminism. Using two search terms will tell JSTOR, the database, that I want materials coming back that combine those. And I can also do some pre-filtering here if I wanted to, but I'm just going to search. All right, so our search came back with about 750 results, a little more than that. And here's some information. Here's a book chapter on, and we can see our search terms here, Star Wars and feminism. Okay, so let's see. Let's take a look at one of these. Here is a journal article, and I want to take a look at that just a little bit more before I decide to download it. When I'm looking at an abstract, that's the summary of the article, which can be super helpful, so I don't have to read through the whole thing. I can just skim through it and see if it's going to be helpful for me. Here's all the information about this article. It was published in Science Fiction Studies in 2017. Here's the stable URL, and you can save that to come back to this article. My suggestion would be, as you are researching and finding articles, go ahead and download them and save them. If you save as you go along, it's going to be a lot easier to keep track of your resources. So you can download your PDF right here. And also, when you scroll a little bit further, you can click Cite this item, and then you can find the citation for this article if you're going to use it, and copy it into your references. Going back, we are going to go to one more database. We're on the databases page in the library resources. We're going to go to Academic Search Complete. And I will show you how to do the same search that we did in JSTOR on in this database as well. This one looks a little bit different, but it still has the search boxes. So we need to find the right search terms. So we'll use the same one, Star Wars and feminism. And with using Academic Search Complete, this database will also suggest other terminology. And this is one thing that's the challenging thing when you are searching the databases, is sometimes you don't have the right term or the right keyword. And you'll know that when you can't find enough resources, or you get 0 search results back. Think about your research project, and what are the words that are most important, and what are some alternate words. Feminism, I might also find materials that are focusing on this in gender roles. So I'm actually going to choose this one that has multiple words, because this will tell the database that I want Star Wars. I want articles about Star Wars, but I also want articles that may mention feminism or feminist or gender roles. It's basically going to open up my search a little bit and hopefully capture as many related articles as possible. In Academic Search Complete, here is the full number of articles that I have for this combination. Now, if I think that's not enough, I can always go back and reduce some of my search terms. I can also try taking the quotations off of Star Wars. Think about when you're searching a database that it's just trial and error, and sometimes you just have to search a few different ways to find what you're looking for. This database works very similar to JSTOR, where you can make selections on the left-hand side as far as filtering out materials. Let's take a look at this article. I can click on it and find out more information about that article. This was published in Entertainment Weekly, and this is a good time to talk about what kind of sources do you need for your bibliography. So this kind of a source is like a popular magazine, and it's not an academic source necessarily. Make sure you review how many sources you need. I think you need 10 sources for this project, and find out if a magazine or a popular resource, newspaper, etc., are going to be options for you to use. Okay, and then, sorry, this page doesn't show everything because it's got too tiny. I'm going to have to move my little screen here around. You can access the PDF or the HTML full text in the upper left-hand corner. And then the other things that are really important are over here on the other side of the screen. I'm going to have to make this smaller here. On the right-hand side, the tools. Two really important tools that you have access to are the permalinks. And you can get a permalink for any article in Academic Search Complete. When I click that, I get the permalink right above the title, and I could copy and paste this and come back to this later. But as I said before, I would probably just save this as the PDF so that I just have access to it. The other thing that you can get is a citation generator. You can utilize this to get the MLA citation for this article, and there it is. Always double check any citation generator that you're using, because sometimes there are little errors in these, and sometimes they can be a little bit hard to catch, so double check those. Back to our library guide. Find websites. I have some information about searching Google Scholar, and there are also some extra websites listed here that focus on the humanities. Hopefully, depending on what you pick for your project, you'll be able to utilize either iShare, JSTOR, or Academic Search Complete, but here are some other ones that are also out there for you to use. And when you're looking at websites, it's really important to evaluate what kind of source you're using, just like deciding whether you can use a magazine in your search, in your research, or if you need to use something else. an academic article. Here are some ways that you can filter through sources and decide if they are going to be useful for your research. MLA Citation. We've got some style guides to help you out. The Purdue OWL MLA Citation Style Guide is very helpful. We also have another one called Scribber. That's a style generator, but if you use JSTOR Academic Search Complete, you can use those little cite buttons in there. Also some information about plagiarism and why it's important to make sure to cite your sources. Here is the homepage to the library resources for Spring 2021 guide. We were looking at the library database links earlier. And again, this is all linked down below, so you can get back to this throughout the semester. And in this guide, we do also have information about how to make a research appointment and how to get help from us. You can get help by clicking on the Ask a Librarian. This will take you to a page where you can chat with us. You can you can email us with questions. And you can also contact me. I have my information on the homepage of your guide, the Humanities 101 guide. You're welcome to email me if you want clarification on anything I talked about today, or if you want to set up a research appointment. You can set up a research appointment with myself or any one of the other librarians for one-on-one help in finding articles or resources, or if you want us to go over anything, again, that I talked about in this video. We can do that for you, and they're very helpful. You get one-on-one help, especially if you are struggling with your topic or you just can't find enough articles or resources. You can definitely make an appointment with us and we can meet via Zoom, so it's really easy. Okay, well, I hope you have a good day and good luck on your project.